This video is brought to you by AudioQuest, makers of the Dragonfly range of USB DACs. Click to AudioQuest.com for more information.
So, after years of procrastination, I finally bought a TV. So for the past 3 years, I've been using a short throw projector from LG. I actually upgraded recently, gave my old one to Olaf, and I've been using this one. It's pretty good. It's got HDMI ARC, it's got Toslink out. If you're wondering what this Frankn-fan situation is on the back, that's because the stock fans in here run so loud in all but the most energy saving mode. So I can't run this full brightness without this Frankn-fan fan. But even when I run it full brightness, it's still not bright enough for this room in daylight, which gets a lot of sun. Now, the best thing about a projector for me is that it completely vanishes when it's not on. I mean, I take the green panels off the wall behind me when I'm projecting, and when I'm not, I put them back. With a TV in a lounge room, I don't know, I don't like the idea of a black mirror when it's not on. So I wanted a TV that could be used often, even when I'm playing music. So it would run quite a lot and would hopefully show something interesting when I'm not actually watching a TV program or something on Netflix or on Apple TV or on Amazon Prime. So hold that thought about display something interesting, because we'll be coming back to it. Now, I haven't bought a normal TV in about 15 years. This is the first one I've bought since 2008, I think. And I had no idea where to start. So I asked my patrons. I was like, hey, which OLED panel should I buy? And also, what the hell is QLED? Because I had no idea. So I was starting very much from zero. My patrons who contributed to that thread were supremely helpful in getting me started in narrowing down a very wide choice to a narrow choice. And we narrowed it down to a Samsung QLED and an LG OLED panel, so either or. So OLED stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode. So each pixel packs its own light source. So when it's off, we get proper blacks. Now, I learned this from watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos, because that's where I went after Patreon. Went onto YouTube looking at different reviews of the LG OLED and the Samsung QLED. Now, although it would be fanciful to think that watching a video of two TVs would show me exactly what those two TVs would look like in real life, those comparison videos, those side-by-side comparison videos on YouTube, I found very informative, because they let me know how the technology works and also the things that I could possibly get tripped up by. So things I need to look out for in choosing my final TV. So for example, the LG apparently has 4 HDMI 2.1 inputs and the Samsung has only 1. Now, I thought that was a big deal until I sort of dug a bit further and discovered that the HDMI 2.1 certification is pretty much game on for anybody now, and they can just specify whatever they want and still get that certification. And you actually have to look at the details of what each TV can do. I also learned from YouTube that Samsung's QLED panels essentially still use a backlit LCD, and then they use quantum dots to filter the backlight. So it's completely different technology to the OLED panel. But what I also learned from YouTube videos was that the Samsung QLED panels tend to be brighter and have better color saturation. So the logical conclusion from those findings is that the Samsung panel would be a much better fit for a brighter room like this one. But the blacks on QLED panels aren't quite as good as OLED panels, because the backlight can't be blocked completely, and obviously OLED just turns the pixel off and there is no light. So the blacks aren't as good on a Samsung QLED panel as they are on an LG OLED. one of the reasons why I wanted a normal TV was so that I could watch Netflix and YouTube during the summer evenings. And also music videos on Tidal. I don't know whether you know this, but the Tidal app on Android TV, I guess streamers like my XIAOMI Mi Box S, and also on TVs like this, doesn't look like, well, the interface doesn't look like it does on a phone. It's very video clip focused and live concert focused, which is excellent. I love digging into that sometimes. And the thing is my projector is nowhere near bright enough for me to use it in the summer, in the evenings, until 10 p.m. when it gets dark. 10 p.m, too late. I'm getting old now, I need to go to bed by 11. More importantly, to sidestep the effect, the black mirror effect of having an off TV, I wanted to use a TV as an enormous now playing screen. I went to see a friend in Portugal in February, and in his recording studio, he got this massive TV. And sometimes he used it for like recording studio apps, but when I was there, he was using it as a Roon now playing screen. And now, even though I've thought about this many times, this is the first time I'd really seen it. I was like, yeah, I want that. Like that thing. And also, I wanted to be able to use it as a Plex now playing screen, a Spotify now playing screen, and maybe a Tidal now playing screen. And although it's not, according to YouTube, as big a problem as it used to be, OLED panels are still prone to burn-in. That's where if like a channel logo or let's say a Roon logo, if I use the Roon now playing screen, if it's left on for too long, can leave a shadow on the screen because the LEDs are organic. They can just get burnt into the screen. Now I know many of you who own an LG panel will go, well, I've never had that problem, but it still exists out there. And obviously when you're buying a TV and you've never bought one for a long time, that's a risk you have to factor in. But there's a risk that still presents with Samsung QLED panels. It's called the dirty screen effect, or DSE. And that's where the luminance of the panel is inconsistent. So sometimes you get this dark vignetting around the corners, or maybe you get some blotches in the middle of the screen. And this varies according to each TV that gets made. So that was another risk that I kind of also had to factor in. Like, was that going to be something that would ruin it for me? I mean, I guess if I got a TV with a DSE problem, I'd probably send it straight back. So buying from a store that guarantees me my money back and not just store credit, when buying blinds like this, I find invaluable. And I guess this is where I landed on Amazon. Now I know that Amazon comes with its own sort of societal issues. I won't go into those here, but yeah, I have a very uneasy relationship with Amazon, as I do with Spotify. But Amazon allows us to home demo gear, right? I mean, all the high-end TVs are on Amazon. It's not even like high-end audio. Like every single high-end TV is on Amazon for you to buy, try it for 30 days, and if you don't like it, you can return it within those 30 days and get your money back. And that's crucial for someone like me who's buying blind in a product category that I haven't really touched for many years. And Amazon is where I first got a handle on TV pricing. And one thing I learned pretty quickly, that because the 2022 models are now being rolled out by Samsung and LG, last year's models are being offered at quite a hefty discount. So I pretty much decided there and then I was going to buy something from last year. So that meant either the Samsung QN90A or the LG C1. Let's talk about operating systems, because they do impact the user experience quite significantly. LG TVs come with something called WebOS. Now that's the same operating system that I have on my projector. And it has this sort of like Wii-like pointer system, you know, like where you move your arm and it's like a little mouse pointer. And I hate it. I know you can turn it off, but it's still hugely irritating. But whilst I've got the remote in my hand, this is the chunky style LG remote. I'm not really a fan of that at all. I much prefer the slimline remotes that come with Samsung TVs. And also the Samsung TVs have a solar panel on the back that recharges them, which I thought was a really nice touch. Now the operating system that comes on Samsung TVs is called Tizen. It's Linux based. Again, I learned all this from internet research. And it too, like the LG, offers support for Plex, so an app for Plex, an app for Tidal, an app for Spotify. So the three that I really wanted to hit. And then I think there's AirPlay support in the Samsung. I'm not sure if that's in the LG. I didn't check that one actually. There is Chromecast support kind of in the Samsung. So for example, if I'm watching a YouTube video on my laptop, I can then cast it to a Samsung. I'm not sure if you can do that with an LG. Please let us know in the comment section below if you can, because I'm pretty sure other people would like to know that. Now at this stage, it's probably pretty obvious that I was leaning towards the Samsung because it's a brighter panel that works better in brighter rooms like this one. But what really sort of cemented that decision was something that some people might find quite trivial, but I do not, and that is dimensions. So if you look at the profile of the LG C1 and you see it in all these YouTube videos, it's super thin. But what many of them don't show you is, like, if you go further down the back of the back of the TV, there's a big butt bulge that comes out. And there isn't that on the Samsung. It is a bit thicker, but not by much. And I looked at that and thought, that probably, the Samsung, is probably going to be easier to fit closer to the wall without any tilt. But then I was looking at sizing, and sizing, I'm on about the width of the TV. Because, and this is a pet peeve of mine, this is going to sound really trivial, but this is important to me, is I can't stand a TV that is either a little bit wider than what it's sitting on or a little bit narrower than what it's sitting on. I want, honestly, it's either super wide or much narrower. And my hi-fi rack behind me, the white thing, is 120 centimeters wide. And when I looked up the width of LG's 55-inch panel, it measured 122. So that's just a little bit wider than my hi-fi rack. I thought that's not going to work. So then I looked up the width of their 48-inch panel, and that was 107. So again, just a little bit narrower. I thought, no, this is not going to work. So I went over to the Samsung page on Amazon, looked at their what I thought would be their 48-inch TV, and it's not, it's 43 inches. So that's a bit narrower. And I thought, this is great because it's just less than a meter. So it gives me, you know, roughly 10 centimeters either side of the TV for a bit of breathing room, so it doesn't give me that odd look that I don't really like. So at the end of my customer journey, if you like, I found the TV size that I wanted. There was still a risk that it was going to arrive with DSC, and I knew that the contrast and the blacks wouldn't be as good as an LG. But most importantly, two things actually, is that the Samsung panel would be definitely bright enough for this room in the daytime. But most importantly of all, I think, is that I can leave it on. I can leave it on a Spotify screen all day and not risk burn-in on the screen that I would risk getting an OLED panel from LG. So I went with the Samsung 43-inch TV, and that's what you see behind me here. So anyway, if you liked this video, if you thought it was at all interesting from a beginner's perspective trying to choose a TV, then please hit the like button down below. If you like my attitude towards, it's not even high-end audio today really, is it? Well, it kind of is, because this is my Now Playing screen, the big, bright, vibrant Now Playing screen that you'll probably see in a lot of videos going forward. So if you dig that, my attitude towards Now Playing screens in high-end audio, then please subscribe to this channel. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching. And when I looked up the dimensions, the width of I've forgotten it.